So thanks for being here.
It's my pleasure.
Yes, this is Pez Owen. She is the owner of Still Point Meditation, and I asked her to come in today to talk a little bit about meditation. We are in our second kind of section of this interview, and while we centered the first part on what is meditation and that sort of thing, this is where I'm really interested. So if I'm an individual and I want to have more mindfulness or interested in meditation into my health and wellness lifestyle, let's talk about what that is. So my first question is, what is the difference between meditation and mindfulness? Because mindfulness is a very, very used term these days.
Yes, and that is a wonderful question. And you might have to shut me up, because when I get into definitions, I get all
No, and
excited.
this is really good, because that's why we're here, is to help individuals that, you know, followers and that sort of thing from a mouth every year. I want them to have these resources to be able to learn and pick up a practice that would benefit them.
Yeah, and you've all heard the term mindfulness. It's just showing up everywhere. You know, there's mindfulness. Google is having mindfulness workshops for their employees now,
Right.
And the military is using mindfulness. So what does this actually mean?
Right.
So I would say the word mindfulness can refer to a number of things. Think of it as an adjective. Okay, so you have mindful awareness, which is sort of what we're looking for when we say we want to be mindful.
Okay.
And mindful awareness is just a way of paying attention, a specific way of paying attention. And okay, I'm going to get into a little bit of detail here with the definition.
Okay.
But this way of paying attention has three components, and you'll find this at sort of the root of all of the classic meditation techniques or styles,
systems,
although it may not be in these words.
Okay.
So the first skill is concentration, which, as you can guess, is the ability to focus on whatever you want to focus on.
Right.
Could be very broad, doesn't have to be a candle, could be everything.
Okay.
The second is sensory clarity.
Okay.
So sensory clarity is knowing what it is you're focusing on. So you're watching this candle flicker and you can be staring at it and off in La La Land, but you don't have any sensory clarity.
Right, I understand.
Okay, so the third skill, which is very important, is equanimity.
Okay.
Equanimity is a lot of things, but to try and boil it down, it's pretty much the ability to let whatever is happening internally happen without pushing or pulling or trying to interfere with it.
Okay.
Which is not the same as letting whatever happens outside happen. So when you say you have to learn to accept it, you see a kid about to be hit by a bus, you don't just accept that.
No.
But you're going to feel some fear arising, and you might feel like you don't know what to do and you're confused, but that doesn't mean that you don't go and rescue the kid. It means you allow that confusion and that fear to be there without fighting with it, and that frees up the energy to go rescue.
So those were elements of mindfulness within meditation.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, elements of what mindful attention is.
Okay.
Concentration, clarity, equanimity.
Okay.
Now, a mindful meditation is any technique which is going to train or apply those three skills.
Okay.
So you're going to apply them to a problem to help you overcome, say, a stressful situation. Or you're going to focus on your breath just in order to deepen and grow those skills. And eventually your baseline mindful attention gets raised.
Okay.
And then when you're just walking through the world, you've got more equanimity and more clarity and more concentration just naturally from a result of doing this practice.
So I'm going to take a step back because, you know, we did want to dig in deep here.
Yeah.
So mindfulness, if we're talking a normal wellness term, being mindful of my eating, being mindful of how many calories I may consume in a day, being mindful of how aware I am of my breath so that I'm more relaxed. There's a million other examples. So how would that type of thinking in terms of mindfulness apply to a meditation class?
In that use of the term mindfulness, really what you're saying is you just want to be consciously aware.
Okay.
So you want to be aware of how many calories you're consuming.
Okay.
Now mindfulness, in the sense of mindfulness meditation, is going to train you to be more aware of what's happening in the present moment.
Okay.
So you're going to be more aware of what you're consuming just by virtue of the fact that you're sort of more aware of everything that's happening. You're not off in the future.
So with that being said, then how does meditation, what are the health benefits of meditation?
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah.
I love that one. Well, if you want to look at scientific research, for example, there has been a whole lot of research going on in the medical field.
Right.
Of things. You know, I could list off a dozen. It helps with anxiety, it can help with asthma, it can help with pain management, it can lower your blood pressure, it can help with irritable bowel syndrome.
Wow.
It can help manage symptoms of cancer.
Wow.
Now, no one's claiming that meditation is going to stop the cancer,
right,
but it can make the experience of having to live with it less traumatic.
Probably for the patient and their families.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, I'm sure. Yeah.
So one key thing that is that causes this benefit is that you are you're reducing your stress by becoming more aware of what's happening internally in terms of thoughts and emotions arising, and then they trigger something that causes another emotion to arise, and pretty soon you've got this sort of Vesuvius of stuff that is chaotic and you can't handle, but you're learning to break it into parts and manageable sections.
So I did read something, because I'm doing a lot of research right now about meditation, and one of the things that I read was that it forces you, and force is not a good word when it comes to this, but I'll just use
facilitates.
it. Okay, it facilitates an opportunity for you during a meditation session to face the challenges in your life. You can't run from them. It's difficult to sit there, but the whole point of it is that you're not running from something. You're facing it and letting it, accepting it. I'm probably not using the right terms, but that is the one thing that really stayed with me, because my next question was, how does it benefit a healthy lifestyle?
Right.
And so is it practicing all the time? Every time you have a stressful situation, you immediately sit down and start meditating?
Right.
How does that work?
So this is a little bit more complicated. It's not black and white, but I'm going to try and make it sort of black and white
Okay.
for now. Yes, you sit and you face what comes up, and you are learning the skills to be able to do this. And the more practiced you become, you don't need to sit. You can do in real time.
Okay.
You can face challenges as they come up.
Oh, okay. So that's good to know, because that's really good to know.
So that's the thing about your baseline rising.
Okay.
So you get to a point where you've been really angry, you've had an argument with someone, and you stomp off to your meditation room, you plop yourself down and you feel the anger and you allow the anger, and then you watch the thoughts and you recognize that that was a trigger from your childhood.
Oh, okay. I'm getting it now. Okay.
So you learn how to allow all of that to come and go.
Okay.
Because part of, if you're repressing it, it's just going to keep coming back.
Right.
But there may be times, and so I just want to clarify this, there may be times when you're sitting and something comes up and it's not appropriate to face it right now. I just want to say that because I don't want people to think, say you're meditating and a traumatic memory comes back, and you're home alone in the middle of the night meditating, that might not be the best time to look at your traumatic memory.
Okay.
So I just wanted to say that on the side.
That's a good point.
But in general, yes, you learn how to not run away.
Okay.
And you learn how to take that into your life. So when you ask how you would do it to facilitate a healthy lifestyle, I would say you would have a sitting practice, or a practice in stillness, because you can meditate standing, for example. Or lying down if you can stay.
I'm actually glad you said that, because I'm not big on sitting, but I would lay down, I would walk.
Yes, walking meditation is a great
that's one of my favorite. I didn't actually know that's what it was, but that's where I practice, is when I'm out in the woods walking and just kind of leaving it all behind and going through my thoughts and getting rid of stuff and figuring things out.
And when we were saying the best practice is to do what works. If you just can't manage to sit and meditate, that's not working.
I'm really glad that we actually brought this up, because I'm guessing that there's many viewers out there who would say, you know what, I don't have time, maybe, I wanna do this on my break at work, on my 10-minute walk around the parking lot, or my weekends when I get my mornings away from the kids, or, you know, maybe a Thursday after work, I get a free time and I can go, you know, hike.
You don't have to actually join a monastery.
I think this is probably the one key thing that people will take away is that it's something you can do anytime, anywhere, outside of what you mentioned, you know, different times, might not apply.
Right. But having said that, it can be really helpful to have a formal meditation, not necessarily sitting, but something where you're not having to use your attention to not bump into trees.
Okay, yeah, or drive.
Or drive.
Yeah.
Although there are some really good driving meditations.
Oh, well, that's good to know too, because I'm sure a lot of people sit in traffic on their way to work and
Yeah.
wish they could be doing something else.
Right.
With that being said, how long should someone practice when they just start?
Okay, good question. The rule of thumb is 10 minutes of formal meditation most days.
Most days, okay.
It can be whenever is best for you. Some people do it in the morning. Some people are too busy in the morning and want to do it before they go to bed. You can do it in your lunch break.
Okay.
You can go to the bathroom and pretend that, you know, we have to be in there for 10 minutes.
Right, I get it.
Now, in addition to that, it's good to do what I call micro hits.
Oh,
Which
okay.
are throughout the day.
Okay.
Intentional formal meditation, but for a very short period of time.
Okay.
So you're standing in line at the grocery store. You might just take 30 seconds to do a loving kindness practice for
That's really
a woman
nice.
ahead. Or you're in traffic, like you said, you're sitting in traffic,
You're
angry.
so frustrated.
You just do, you know, as long as the light is red, you do a focus on the sensations and allow them to dissipate meditation.
I love this.
So throughout the
I hope
day-
everyone's listening to this and finds a little piece of this they can incorporate, because the world needs more of this.
Yeah.
With that being said,
Mhm.
we are going to take a quick break.
Good.
Because I think it's a good stopping point. And when we come back, we're going to talk about how people can get involved in meditation in their communities and really how they can develop a practice in the life that they live.
Okay.
All right, we'll be right back. Thanks.